Hello students, welcome back. So last class as I was discussing about the performance considerations. So in that I have discussed about the interleaving part, right? I hope the concept is clear. So in today's class that I am going to discuss the one more important concept as a performance consideration, that is hit rate and the miss penalty. Here, an excellent indicator of the effectiveness of a particular implementation of the memory hierarchy is the success rate in accessing the information at various levels of the hierarchy. Now, we can recall that a successful access to data in a cache is known as a hit, and the number of hits stated as the fraction of all attempted accesses, that is known as hit rate, and the miss rate is the number of misses that are stated as a fraction of attempted accesses, that is miss rate. Now ideally the entire memory hierarchy would appear to the processor as a single memory unit that has the access time of a cache on the processor chip and the size of a magnetic disk. So how close we get to this ideal, it depends largely on the hit rate at different levels of the hierarchy. Now high rates that are essential for the high performance computers, that is very important. Here the performance is adversely affected by the action that must be taken after a miss. The extra time which is needed to bring the desired information into the cache is known as miss penalty. So this penalty is ultimately reflected in the time that a processor is stalled, means hanged, something like, because the required instruction or the data that are not available for the execution. So in general the memory hierarchy to a faster unit, means in general the miss penalty is the time needed to bring a block of data from a slower unit in the memory hierarchy to a faster unit. I hope you clear with this concept what is miss penalty. Miss penalty is the time needed to bring a block of data from a slower unit in the memory hierarchy to a faster unit, that is miss penalty. Here the miss penalty is reduced if the efficient mechanism for transferring the data between various units of the hierarchy are implemented. And in the previous section as it has shown how an interleaved memory can reduce the miss penalty substantially. Now in your textbook example is given, so kindly go to that example and try to compare this concept with respect to that example. So in front of us there is a question, that is how can the hit rate be improved. So an obvious possibility, means one possibility is to make the cache larger, but this in turn increase the cost. If you try to increase the cache memory, means if you try to increase the size of cache memory, obviously it in turn increase the cost. So that is one possibility, but another possibility is to increase the block size while keeping the total cache size, means another possibility is to increase the block size while keeping the total cache size constant to take the advantage of spatial locality. If all the items in a larger block are needed in a computation, then it is better to load these items into the cache as a consequence of a single miss, rather than loading the several smaller blocks as a result of several misses. The efficiency of parallel access to blocks in an interleaved memory is the basic reason for this advantage. So larger blocks are effective up to a certain size, but eventually any further improvement in the hit rate, it tends to offset by the fact that in a larger block some items may not be required before the block is ejected or before the block is replaced. So the miss penalty increases as the block size increases. Since the performance of a computer is affected positively by increased hit rate and negatively by increased miss penalty. Here, the block size that are neither very small nor very large give the best result. So in practice, the block size in the range from 16 to 128 bytes have been the most popular choices for this. Finally, we note that the miss penalty can be reduced if the load through approach is used when loading the new blocks into the cache. Then instead of waiting for the completion of the block transfer, the processor can continue as soon as the required word is loaded in the cache memory. So this is all about respect to hit rate and miss penalty, and also improving the hit rate and the miss penalty. Right. The next concept is caches on the processor chip. Right. So when the information is transferred between the different chips, considerable delays that are introduced in the driver and receives the gates on the processor chip. Hence, from the speed point of view, the optimal place for a cache is on the processor chip. Unfortunately, the space on the processor chip is needed for many other functions. So this will limit the size of cache but can be accommodated. Here all the high performance processor chips include some form of cache memory, and some manufacturers have chosen to implement two separate caches, one for the instruction and other for the data, as in the 68040 processor, that is Pentium 3 and Pentium 4 processors. And others have implemented a single cache for both the instruction and data, as in ARM processor. So a combined cache for the instruction and data is likely to have somewhat a better hit rate because it offers greater flexibility in mapping a new information into the cache memory. However, if the separate caches are used, then it is possible to access both the cache at the same time, which will lead to increased parallelism and hence the better performance. Here, the disadvantage of a separate cache is that the increased parallelism comes at the expense of more complexity circuitry. In the high performance process, two levels of cache are normally used. One is L1 and one is L2. The L1 cache is on the processor chip, and L2 cache, which is much larger, may be implemented externally using static RAM chips. But a somewhat smaller L2 cache may also be implemented on the processor chip, which was there in one of the version of Pentium 3 processor. Here, if both L1 and L2 caches are used, then L1 cache should be designed to allow a very fast access by the processor because its access time will have a larger effect on the clock rate of the processor. Here, a cache cannot be accessed at the same speed as a register file because cache is much bigger and hence more complex. A practical way to speed up the access to the cache is to access more than one word simultaneously and let the processor use them one at a time. So this technique is used in most of the commercial processors. The L2 cache can be slower, but it should be much larger to ensure a high hit rate. So its speed is less critical because it only affects the miss penalty of L1 cache. And a workstation computer may include an L1 cache with the capacity of tens of kilobytes and L2 cache of several megabytes. So including an L2 cache further reduces the impact of main memory speed on the performance of a computer. The average access time experienced by the processor in a system with two levels of cache, which is represented like this: T average equal to H1C1 plus 1 minus H1 into S2C2 plus 1 minus S2 into M. Here, H1 is the hit rate in the L1 cache, S2 is the hit rate in L2 cache, C1 is the time to access information in L1 cache, C2 is the time to access information in L2 cache, and capital M is time to access the information in main memory. The number of misses in the L2 cache, which is given by the term 1 minus h1 into 1 minus h2, so should be low. If both h1 and h2 are in 90% range, then the number of misses will be less than 1% of processor memory access. Hence, the miss penalty, that is M, will be less critical from the performance point of view. So this is all about the caches on the processor chip. In the next class, I am going to discuss other enhancement, that is what the last concept in this module that completes this particular module. Thank you.